Hi, I'm Neil Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a FITPRO doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify and kickstart as a FITPRO? This is the FITPRO Sessions podcast with Parallel Coaching.
How to be as strong in your revision as you are in your workout.
Episode number 5, FITPRO Sessions of Season 9.
We're in Season 9,
And
Episode 5.
I am looking forward to this one because what we're going to look at is to be as strong in your revision as you are in your gym workout.
What I love about this is that most people that go into fitness love fitness. So they already do a workout. You already know how to be successful in a workout.
But maybe you don't love revision or aren't successful in your revision or your studies.
Yeah, exactly. So this is bridging that gap, right?
Yeah, completely. We're going to take all the principles from training and deep dive into training principles and link that to your revision and provide evidence that you already know how to get incredible results and be successful inside your own workouts. And we're going to take those same characteristics, training principles and attributes and chuck them straight into your studies.
What I love most about this is that so often a workout can be like the best analogy, the best learning tool to cross across, almost like a metaphor.
To cross
across into other parts of our world. Like
Yes.
that could be into your business, it could be into your revision and your studies.
Could be-
It could be into your work that you do, other things.
Family, relationships, communication. I think training provides an incredible metaphor. We learn there's so many hidden benefits in our gym workouts or our gym routine.
Yeah.
So let's jump straight back in. We got our notes ready and planned.
And we actually have 6 different points that will guide you through. I'm sure this will expand.
It will expand.
But we've started with 6 different points that will basically link so that you can be as strong in your revision as you are in your workout.
I want to ask you a question straight away, and I'm going to ask you as well, Hayley. So if you're walking, whatever it is you're doing now, answer this question as quick as you can. What makes an outstanding workout? What makes an outstanding session? What are the ingredients for your workout to be? Do you know what that is going to be wicked? And at the end of it, that was amazing. That was wicked.
Do you know what my answer is?
Go for it.
Preparation.
Preparation. Tell us
Because
more.
if I don't prepare for my workout, I just go around doing the things I want to do, and it doesn't actually feel like a workout. I end up with too much rest in between things. I kind of like lose momentum. It
There's
just
no
becomes
flow.
no point to it. So
I like
preparation for me.
Anything else?
No, that's my main one. You said one quick thing.
For my one quick thing would be the food and drink hydration going into it, because I
think
know
that's prep too, though, right?
Yeah, but it's a different element of prep, isn't it? Like if I'm fully hydrated, I'm fully fed, then I know I'm going to be able to. Well, it feels like I get more out of that session. It feels like I'm going to lift more or move quicker. So I'm not a fan of training in the mornings because I've just spent the last 6 to 8 hours fasted overnight.
Yeah.
However, if I train in the afternoon, I've had my breakfast, my snack, my lunch, my snack, and anything else I want.
You can fuel your brain and your muscles.
Completely.
Good to go.
So I would be intrigued, drop a comment inside the Facebook Inner Circle for Parallel Coaching and say, what would be the ingredients for you that make up an outstanding workout?
Yeah, I think we should start with your one.
Go for it.
Because starting with understanding about food, if food and drink makes a really good workout.
Okay, so we're linking this now to be as strong in your revision as you are in your workout.
Yeah, so
okay.
if that makes it a strong workout for you, having good food, good hydration, making sure like your energy levels are tip top, you can concentrate on what you're doing, then the same applies for your revision as well.
Completely.
Rather than doing it at a point whereby you're not fed, you're not fueled, or you're over fed and fueled. Like, when that
the
stodgy,
carbs set in and you're all lethargic. And I speak to so many learners about their studies and their revision, and the vast majority have got kids, and so it come the end of the day, the kids have had their evening routine, they've gone through the bath time and the bedtime routine, and you sit down to do your studies and you're not hydrated, you're not fueled. And it could be as simple as the 3 or 4 hours beforehand, setting yourself up with a good snack, a good evening meal, and off you go into
and
your
having
studies.
a good amount of fluid throughout the day as well, so you're kind of all prepared. And this makes a big difference to your level of concentration. So if you don't, whereby you aren't satiated in terms of what you've consumed, you're not hydrated, you will find that your attention span is much shorter throughout your revision session. Maybe you start reading something or watching a video, and before you know it, there's a ping on your phone and you're off. Or
completely.
something else happens whereby you allow yourself to get distracted easily, or you find it hard to think about it or recall information. Whereas when you're well fed, well fueled and well hydrated, just like in your workout, it makes a massive difference.
But also, in order for me to progress inside my workouts, I must have adequate nutrition. So if I wanted to, grow lean muscle, I'm going to have adequate protein that meets the demand of the stress of my workout in order for me to move forwards and actually get my goal.
Yeah, nice.
And so I want you to consider as well that, the food and that you consume and the drink is not just there for the concentration, and that individual session is actually compounded for you to retain and recall this information and remember it in the future as well.
Yes.
So, your brain is a muscle as well. And so if we treat, this is a metaphor straight away, do you know what I mean? The training element of being hydrated and well fed, not only for that single session, but all sessions, is the same for your studies.
I like that one.
What was your ingredient?
Mine was all about preparation. So in preparing for your workout, so you've planned what you're going to do in your workout.
Yeah.
You already know what it is you're going to go and sort of aim to do. There's an outcome to that singular session. And that's, I think, can move across very easily into your revision as well.
So
because you don't want to just go into it and be like, oh, here's a random page in my book. I'll start there.
Oh, look, I'm on page 229.
Oh, look, I put this into Google
Yeah,
and I
completely.
ended up with a doctorate level video. Like, it's not appropriate.
So the aim is what you're going to achieve in that session, and the objective is how you're going to go about doing it. And I walk into it, that's what we teach. That's what we love doing, right? That makes the ingredients of an amazing session. You plan the session. You know the aim. The aim is to get you from A to B on a particular goal or a body transformation, or for you to get quicker inside a marathon or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And the objective is, what are you going to do this particular session that is the prerequisite to the next session that gets you closer to your goal.
Yeah, and even if that is, say, just a chest session as part of that one little piece, that one little domino that you push over to get to the next one, which is your leg session, and the next one that is your back session, or even the whole body, it doesn't matter. But the point is that that's the topic. It still has to be covered.
Yes.
It has to be done.
Yeah.
And if it's not done, you can't go on to the next one. And it's the same in your revision, is that if you, let's just say you plan to do heart and circulatory system, and you need to know about the function of the structure of the heart before you can go on and understand the circulation of the heart. You're like, well, I can't go on and understand the circulation if I don't know there's 4 chambers.
Yeah.
There's like this prerequisite
You need
dominoes.
to know this to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting about the workout? And I find, maybe you're the same, I don't know, not you, but everybody listening, is when I hit the part of a workout and I get to like the toughest move, the most complex move, or I lift a particular weight that is not necessarily a PB weight, but I know that is incredibly overload. It's incredible fatigue. And you get to the end of it and you think like, I feel great. You have a great pump. You're kind of really buzzed and fueled, and you like feel really great about what you've just done. You feel good about yourself. You stand up, you kind of lift your chest up nice and tall, shoulders back, and you're like, yeah. And like you look around the gym and like no one is even looking or even caring.
Nobody realised.
No one
Yeah,
realised. But
totally.
inside you're like, and then there's a song that comes on your headphones, and you're like, everything kind of connects and you feel really good.
You're like in the flow.
And we really enjoy the elements of our training whereby it's the toughest part, and at the end of it you think back and you think, right, I did that many burpees or that many squat thrusts or that weight on the back squat, or I pulled this amount of weight, or I pushed that amount of weight on the bench. Yet inside our revision, okay, ready for it? We hold back and refrain from the toughest part.
Yeah, we don't see the challenge as a good thing.
We don't see the challenge as a good thing. So
so
often
you don't get excited about the
we
hard
don't get
bit.
excited about the hard bit.
It's not like, oh my god, I've got to learn origins and muscles. I'm not going to go
Yes,
there. Instead,
imagine
it's
if we
like,
just flipped that on its head and said, I get to train and learn and remember muscles, origins and insertions, and the joints crossed, and the joints act, muscles react, and the law of the body emotion, the law of reciprocal inhibition. And you get to the end of that session and you're like, damn, that was good. I loved it. X, Y, and Z. Like this does
so that
that.
excitement for it, even the hard bits.
Even the hard bits. So could we reframe our studies, our revision, and say, yes, it was hard, but actually the objective was for it to be overload, and it was for it to be hard.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
And
good.
it's just a shift in a paradigm shift in our mindset,
You're
isn't
supposed
it?
to get that overload. And
You're
failure.
supposed
to be
like,
challenging.
if you lift a weight and you're like, I aimed for 10 rep max and I only got 8, you're like, well, the weight was too great, or I went too slow, I changed the tempo, or maybe went too quick. There's lots of variables, but we don't beat ourselves up over that. Yet in revision and studies, we're like, I wasn't very good, I can't remember this,
That
I'm
means
rubbish, I'm not good
I'll
enough.
never pass.
Yeah, completely.
We say it, don't we?
So it's a small, I'm going to say it's a small, maybe it's a huge paradigm shift of mindset. But let's start to consider that we love elements of our workout, and in the same context, we dislike it in another area of life.
Like challenge.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned variables a minute ago, and I think this is the perfect link.
To drop in 5 R's and a V, and we've used this in previous podcast, FITPRO Sessions.
Yeah.
We bring this up and we introduce it at our level 2 gym in our Milton Keynes Academy. We've just come off of a PT weekend as well, and we discussed a whole host of variables, but at the kind of the watermark of all variables is what we call our 5 R's and a V. And they are, so imagine 5 words that begin with R and 1 with a V.
Yeah, nice. And these are all things that will make something, in particular if you think about a resistance exercise, it's easier.
And it's not a definitive
about
list.
Making it harder or easier by changing one of these variables.
Progression or regression.
And the same applies for your revision. So let's go through the 5 R's and a V and link it to
So our
revision.
5 R's are resistance, reps, rate. So rate would be the tempo or the speed. We've got R is another range of movement, rest, and the V is volume. So quick recap: resistance, reps, rate, range of movement, rest, and volume.
Yeah.
Now we could look at the complexity of exercise, the order of exercises. There's lots of
Stability underfoot.
There's lots of other variables that we could manipulate for something to become easier, to regress, or to progress and make it harder.
These are the main 6.
And so the first one to kind of like get to, I'm going to say, is volume. Okay, so we
look at the bottom.
The bottom up, because that's the stable base. So volume would be the number of sessions in a week, the volume of training. Okay, you could look at
how much are you going to do? How many sets are you going to do?
No, how many sessions are you going to do?
Yeah.
Then you could look at the volume of how many exercises you're going to do.
Nice, that's what I was going.
Then you could look at the number of sets that you're going to do. Then you could look at the volume of total number of kgs lifted.
Yes.
So volume could look at in many perspectives inside a training session.
Yeah, definitely.
And so
the same applies in your revision.
Yeah, completely.
Because volume could be how many sessions you're doing in a week. So how many times do you sit down and revise, or do you apply your mind to think about revision?
So the ACSM guidelines, jumping in, the ACSM guidelines for an apparently healthy individual would be 2 to 3 resistance sessions per week.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we looked at that, in order for the muscle to grow, in order for the muscle to be stimulated enough, whether that be in an endurance capacity, a hypertrophy, or strength or power, we're looking at a minimum of 2 to 3. So if we've now recognized that the brain is a muscle, in theory, we should be, and in practice more to the point, we should be stimulating the brain 2 to 3 times per week.
Which is enough, isn't it, to re-stimulate so that you don't have diminished gains over time.
Yes.
Which is really important when it comes to revision as well. So rather than saying, well, I only study on Saturday, and then I have nothing, and then I only study on a Saturday, and then I have nothing, you'll find it harder to retain information than if you've done it
because
2
the
3 times a
duration
week.
in between is too great.
Diminished returns.
Diminished returns completely. And then you could look at the volume of each one of those sessions. So you could say, well, I can only go to the gym twice per week, but in order to get the maximum or optimal performance and have marginal gains each session, the session might be slightly longer. So you might say, well, I'm going to revise twice this week, but I'm going to do slightly longer sessions. But then you could say, well, the volume goes up, and therefore I can lower all of the other variables or the intensity because I've got frequency. So now I only have to go to the gym for 30 minutes per session.
Nice.
So you could say, well, rather than do 2 heavy bouts in the gym or 2 heavy bouts of study and revision, I'm going to go to the gym for 5 times this week, but for 30 minutes. Okay. Or revise and study 5 times this week for 30 minutes.
Nice.
So as volume goes up, intensity comes down, or as intensity goes up, volume can come down.
Love that.
So I've got this teeter-totter.
The relationship between volume and intensity.
There we go. Which is a principle that we teach at level 3. I like
and one
that.
of the other the 5 R's and a V. Let's now go up again. So from volume, I want to go up to rest.
I think this is the logical place to go to because
rest is directly related to volume.
Completely.
So you have too much rest, aka you're only training once a week or revising once a week, in which case you've got too much rest in between, which is the diminished returns we're talking about. Or is it one of those workouts whereby in that workout itself you've now got too much rest? You know, like those sessions whereby you start off training and then someone comes over and talks to you, and before you know it, you've got like totally cold.
Yeah.
You've been standing chatting for 10, 15 minutes.
You do this to me.
And you've gone cold, you've got to like re-warm, you lose your mojo, you're like, I'm kind of done now. There's too much rest in between.
Goes back to the preparation as well. So they kind of like tangibly link up here. So you could say, right, I'm going to go from a bench press to a row. I'm not going to have any rest in between. And then I'm going to move straight into a lower body exercise and reduce my rest. And now I get more bang for my buck inside that session. So instead of doing, let's give an arbitrary number for argument's sake, 18 exercises and 5 training systems, I end up doing 11 exercises across however many training systems. And so I've had too much rest on the actual session. So it's kind of like this start, stop scenario, which inside a revision or study session could be, you have great intentions, you have a great first warm up in 5-10 minutes. Okay, and then your phone pings, or you go, I'm going to make a cup of tea, and then when you make a cup of tea, you realise that the kitchen needs to be wiped down, and then you go back to the table, and then you notice something in the garden, and you go, this start, stop.
Which is like someone interrupting your gym session,
or
right?
is somebody interrupting? Did the phone ring? Did the phone go off? Did an email come in?
Did the kids run in?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So are you being distracted, or are you distracting yourself and gaining too much rest?
Yeah.
Equally, on the flip side of that,
is there enough?
Is there enough rest?
Is there enough rest that allows you to turn around and say, yeah, I have actually recovered in between sessions? Now, I like this from a revision point of view. If you think, like, let's just say you're going to go, right, I'm going to go and do 25 minutes of revision, solid focused revision, and then I'm going to take 5 or 10 minutes break. And in those 5 to 10 minutes break, I'm just gonna relax, switch my brain off.
That's when you can go and do all the things you were going to distract yourself with.
Go and do the other distraction
Go and look
things.
on Instagram or whatever you need to do. Go and watch perhaps you did look up some.
Go and water the garden.
Yeah, completely. Perhaps you
did
look something up on the internet, on Google, and you found a YouTube clip, and you're like, oh, that was a really good clip. I'll come back and watch that one later. Don't get distracted during the actual session.
So the rest allows you to go back into the next part of your revision session much more fueled, much more recovered. And on our level 3 PT course just gone, I remember talking with the group about the number of seconds per number of reps that they do. So obviously the heavier you go and the less reps you do, the more rest you have. And that's actually calculated and researched. So let's just say 10 reps, 90 seconds rest. And they go, oh, but could you cut it short if you wanted to? I was like, yeah, but you're going to have diminished amount of power and performance on the next set. Same applies in your revision. If you don't have enough recovery in between,
which comes back to your hydration,
your concentration goes,
concentration,
right? And you're not going to have it in the next session. So rest is really important.
So if you're binge revising or your exam is coming up, still consider that work to rest ratio. Let's come up to another R, which is range of movement. So inside, for example, any exercise, I could do a full rep, I could do a quarter rep, a partial rep, a 3/4 rep, and I could manipulate the range of movement. I could do a full squat, a half squat, a quarter squat, depending on my client's goal or the goal of that session, okay, and what my client's ability is. But then if we transfer range of movement as a variable that we can comfortably manipulate during a rep itself, not just on the next set we're going to do a full squat. You could actually at the end of a set reduce range of movement, so it's a variable that can be manipulated in the moment.
Yes.
When we look at revision, we could say, what's the range of movement inside your revision? What range are you revising in? Are you depth?
What depth of knowledge? Are you aiming for level 2 but end up like finding a doctorate level video?
And that's the problem. So many learners go onto Google, they put in their question about, I don't know, something about the heart and lungs or muscles, and they find themselves in the depths of a YouTube video which was designed for doctorate students or nursing students, and then get confused, and then they do some mock questions and find themselves in this place of like, I'm not very good because I couldn't answer his mock question, but it's a totally different syllabus on a totally different course. And then our self-efficacy, our self-confidence, our self-worth drops down, and we end up beating ourselves up thinking we're never going to make a great FITPRO. So the range of movement inside your studies, if you're on an active IQ course, stick with active IQ resources. If you're on a YMCA course, go and stick with YMCA mock questions and so
level
forth.
Level 2 is level 2, level 3 is level 3,
the point,
don't go anymore.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, keep it that simple. That's the depth.
That's range of movement and depth.
Exactly.
The next one up is going to be rate, which would be speed. And I like this. So you've got various training systems that you could manipulate the rate or the speed or the tempo of someone's exercise. So you could start a beginner off 2 up, 2 down. You could then go to 2 down, pause for a second, up to pause for a second. But then you could go to an eccentric training system and have, for example,
slower on the way down.
8 seconds down, 2 seconds pause, 4 seconds up.
Ooh, nice.
And so the duration of each rep could be challenging as a logical progression as you take your client through towards their goal. And you could easily match the rate or the tempo and the speed in order to someone's goal. So if someone had a speed goal, then you might move quicker. If someone had a hypertrophy goal, you might over time slow it down and have more time under tension and so forth.
And the same applies in your revision.
And the same applies in your revision.
And that everybody has different learning speeds as well. And I think this is really important. So some people feel like they are slower learners. It takes a little bit longer to go in their heads, especially with certain topics.
And that's okay.
That's okay. You can slow down your pace. You can spread things out, not only in between sessions, but how you actually learn in the session. And one learner that I speak to, in terms of our video tutorials on the Revision Mastery Bootcamp, they set it at a different speed. So they listen at a slower pace.
Oh, wicked.
So that they've got longer to interpret it. And English is their second language. So it gives them that extra little space to be able to do it at their speed.
And likewise, you might say, well, I don't have much time, so I could listen to the MP3 or MP4.
Or I've got lots of experience of this bit. I know it. I can go faster.
You could go through in 1.5 speed or 2 double the amount of speed. That's wicked. I really like that. But the other side to this in terms of tempo also comes down to the type of the way you're learning as well. Does that make sense? Or
I find reading really slow. Like, it would take me ages to read it in a manual.
Perfect.
And
I'm a slow
be
reader.
going through it and I'd be like, no, I've got to go back.
So it's choosing a mode. So then I could enter the FIT principle of frequency, intensity, type and time and say, right, let's jump into type. What's the mode? Well, today's workout is cardiovascular. Tomorrow's workout is resistance. The next day is flexibility or that's the mode. So I can say, what's the mode of my revision? My mode of revision could be learning via audio, could be learning like you are now via an audio podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, you've also got visual. So it's understanding, are you a visual, auditory or kinesthetic learner, and choosing the mode in order to challenge the rate. Because if you're struggling with learning or retaining information, it could be as simple as the speed in which you're taking this information on board and challenging your rate, your speed, your tempo.
You've got to find the speed that works for you.
Beautiful.
Love that.
There's 2 more R's we haven't discussed yet, and the first one is reps, and the next one is after that is resistance. So which one do you want to go to?
Repetitions, please.
Cool.
So this is how many times you repeat what you're doing, right? So in a set of exercise, let's say we're doing bench press, I do 12 reps or 10 reps or 8 reps according to my goal. The same applies with your revision in the fact that the number of repetitions that you go through of your revision, let's just say of reading the manual or of watching a certain video or repeating a audio clip, the more you repeat it, the more you're learning it.
Well, my coach says to me that repetition is the mother of all skill.
Yes, exactly.
And so if I repeat, you know, it's funny, isn't it? Inside a workout, in over 20 years of training, I've never questioned the number of repetitions I've done on a shoulder press or a bench press.
Yeah.
I've never questioned the number of reps I've done in a workout on a squat or a lunge, let alone inside a week or a month or a year or 20 years. There must be hundreds of thousands of squats gone into my legs. I've never questioned, I come from an ultra run background, so I've never questioned the amount of steps. Some days I would do 10,000 steps, other days I might do 6,000 steps, but during like peak training, I could hit 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000 steps. On race day, on 100k race days, I could hit, over 100,000 steps. And I never questioned every one of those repetitions. Yeah, it's funny how inside our studies, and I'm guilty of this, this is why I'm kind of like a bit jokey and jovial about it, is I've gone over this already twice today. I'm bored of this already. Yet inside our studies,
In
inside
a
a workout
we
rather,
don't worry
we
about
don't
reps.
worry about reps. Reps actually becomes a key thing, doesn't it? So if I want to do 12 rep max, it's a weight or a load or a range of movement, okay, that brings about overload for 12 reps. I can't get number 13 out because I went too quick. I can't get number 13 out because I went too slow. I can't get number 13 out because the depth is too great.
Yes.
And so I bring about an overload at 12 RM. We go, do you know what? I'm going to have 12 perfect reps. I'm going to achieve technical overload. I'm going to bring about fatigue. I'm going to bring about total overload. I can't lift anymore. I'm done. I'm spent. And yet in our studies, maybe we don't get to that point and we go, do you know what? I've repeated it this time. I'm gone. I'm spent. I got nothing left in the tank. I can't lift anymore. My brain can't learn anymore today. I'm done. So we walk out of our workout after 40, 45 minutes or 60 minutes and we go, that was a wicked workout. Couldn't have done anymore. I loved it. My legs, like a classic Facebook meme, isn't it? You know, where you do legs day and you kind of like, you're like crawling out, can't walk to your car. You're crawling out the gym or you can't go down the steps. Do we bring about that level of overload inside our repetitions, inside our revision?
I love that. And I love that, just allowing yourself to think, well, where could I repeat this again? And some people will do, like, for example, in our revision boot camps, they go through and they're like, well, I repeat the video tutorials. One lady was like, I've got 12 months to prepare for my exam. I'm going to repeat it all loads. And in that repetition, I know I'm learning. And then there's some people that might do it in 3 days, in which case they don't have time to repeat it.
Well, actually, there was a lady about, I'm going to say probably about 6 to 7 weeks ago. It was around about late March time. She booked her exam for the following week and she did only have 6 days.
Yeah.
And she did call up. She said, I've bought the level 3 revision mastery bootcamp. Have I got enough time to get through it? And I said, you can get through it in under 8 hours. It's about 7 hours 50.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you got the cheat sheets alongside. And I'll be honest, I didn't hear anything from her for a few days. And
she's obviously busy
studying. And she called up, she goes, I've been through it 4 times.
Wicked.
So literally, she goes, I've got a week off work anyway. And she literally went all through 4 8 hours one day, 4 8 hours the next, 4 8 hours the next. And it was repetition. I think she got something like 93 or 94%.
Because the repetition. Whereas if you never do a repetition,
yes,
at all, then you've not learned it.
Then you're not going to the gym.
Yeah.
Completely. The last one is resistance. So we've already talked about this. It's got to be, there's got to be enough load.
That's
okay,
it.
Which comes back to, load can be reflected not just in the number of kilograms lifted, but it could be the other 5 R's that you've manipulated. 4 R's that you've
like
manipulated.
we're talking about, say, range of movement is the depth of knowledge, but finding that right amount of depth. Your resistance is kind of about depth, but it's about the number of topics each week that you might cover. It's about how much detail you allow yourself to go into. It's the load of that session.
Yeah.
So in that session, did you get in everything you wanted to?
Which comes back to your initial thought was yours about preparation.
Yeah, did you do everything you wanted to do in that session?
Completely.
Did you hit the resistance that you were after? That's what
One final thing I want to kind of touch on as well is, if I think back to mine was all about nutrition and hydration. I'm going to also link up to yours about preparation. Is when I go into a gym, I know that I've got a warm up, a main, and a cool down. Yeah. And so I know that my warm up has got a series of preparatory exercises in. I know that I've got to get my joints mobile, my muscles activated, ready for the main session of what's to come. I've got to get my mind ready for what's to come. And then I do a cool down relevant to what I've just done. So it's a bit like a sandwich, isn't it? You've got a slice of bread, which is your warm up. You've got the main component, which is all your tasty fillings, your cheese, your pickle, and your ham, or whatever you're going to have.
Cheese and pickle.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it? And then at the top, you've got your other slice of bread, which is your cool down. So you can't have a sandwich without 2 slices of bread and the main in the middle.
Love
okay?
it.
Same with your workout. Same goes for your revision. And so inside preparation, it's saying, well, I've got a 60-minute session. I'm going to give 10 minutes, let's just say 10 minutes for quick maths to my warm up and 10 minutes to my cool down. Therefore, I've got a 40-minute main.
Yeah.
I can now work out specifically how many training systems, how many exercises, what my rep range is, what my tempos are, to say clearly inside this 40 minutes, I can only place in 17 supersets. Because if I put in 18 supersets, I'm going to go overrun by my hour, and I can't overrun my hour because I'm going to go on and pick somebody up from their job, or I've got to go shopping, or I've got something to move on to. The key bits. So I know I can be a very good time manager in my workout because it's planned.
Yeah.
But notice that it's got key components to it.
Yes.
So all of my 5 hours in a V drop into my warm up. All of my 5 hours in a V drop into my main with my training systems and my approaches. And then all of my 5 hours in a V drop into my cool
and
down.
I think that warm up, main and cool down is like a plan, do, review, isn't it? So if you think you've got a revision session, you start your revision planning what you're going to do.
You don't go straight into learning about the origin and insertion of the iliopsoas. You don't go straight into page 34 and go, cool, types of bones. You already know that there's going to be a warm-up. And maybe your warm-up is reviewing something from last session.
Yes.
Okay, reminding yourself of your key takeaways, adding, like, what am I really going to focus on? What's my range of movement going to be in this session? What's my...
what variables am I going to change?
And then you're going to say, right, I'm going to read between page 30 and 35, and I'm going to extract at the end of every paragraph one key takeaway, write that down, and then I'm going to go and test myself towards the end with mock questions. And so you've got a warm-up in your revision, a warm-up in your workout, the main component of your revision, the main component of your workout, followed by a cool down to say, this is what I've learned, these are my key takeaways, this is what I've enjoyed, my brain's fully overloaded, I've gone through reps, resistance, range of movement, rate and rest, and here's my volume. Now I can move into my cool down, boom.
Job done.
Off we go.
And I really like that as a sandwiched approach, because we kind of stacked up our analogies and metaphors, haven't we? We've got the sandwich, we've got the workout, and now we've got the revision.
But our workout can truly
truly
hold the perfect metaphor for our studies. Yet we spend so much time, energy and effort planning the perfect workout for it to feel and look and be great to get us to our goal.
To get excited about it as well.
But then I'm going to add like one more thing, like we're learning, or you're learning, I'm on a course as well right now. So we're learning, okay, to better ourselves, to progress, but also to become that outstanding FITPRO, to go on and help as many other people as possible in the realm of health and fitness nutrition that you want to work in. And so it should feel deep down fiery, exciting. You should have this flame in the belly that's like, I really want to get into my studies. This is like, this is great. Like, just as much as I want to get into the workout in the gym, I want to get into my studies because I can't wait to pass, get that certificate, my license to go and practice this, and bam, off I go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Exactly.
I've enjoyed this one.
I love it. Yeah, so let us know what your big takeaway is. Use the inner circle to help us. But the best thing to do for that is, if you think about what makes a really good workout, and then I want to see what your link is to your revision. So what makes the best workout, and how do you link that to your vision? Drop it in the inner circle using the link that's with this.
And where in your world are you having the best workouts, okay, but not taking or extracting the lesson, the metaphor from your workout and placing it into your studies?
And it shows you that if you can have a strong workout, you can have a strong revision game, right?
Completely, which was the title of this, which was how to be as strong in your revision as you are in your workout. I'm going to remind you to leave a 5-star review inside iTunes. They are helping tremendously, and season 9 is going down a storm, and the feedback on social media, on people's Instagram stories, Facebook stories, tagging us in, reaching out has been great. But it doesn't get even greater without your feedback and your 5-star review. So it's incredibly mucho appreciated, but mucho appreciated for you to do that. So thank you very much.
Yeah, lovely.
We'll see you
next week. Oh no,
not next
on
week.
Thursday.
2 days time.
Yeah, for episode number 6.
See you later.
Take care. Bye.
Hi, I'm Neil Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a FITPRO doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify and kickstart as a FITPRO? This is the FITPRO Sessions podcast with Parallel Coaching.